Good morning, everyone. I'm Jenny Dearborn. I'm the Chief People Strategy Officer at BTS, but I'm speaking to you today as one of the executive producers of the independent film Lilly. We had two screenings of the film here at Transform, one on Sunday and one on Monday. Thank you for those of you who were able to attend and enjoy the film. I'm here with the film's writer-director, Rachel Feldman, and Lilly Ledbetter's daughter, Vicky Saxon, and we're here to talk about the life and legacy of Lilly Ledbetter. The movie, Lilly, is a dramatic feature film based on the remarkable true story of Lilly Ledbetter, a working-class hero who was a supervisor at the Goodyear tire factory in Alabama. And when she realized, right when she was close to retirement, that she discovers that she was being paid about 40% less than her male peers in the same job for all of those 20 years of her career, she was outraged. And she fights this injustice to the Supreme Court, to the halls of Congress, and to the White House, all while powerful forces are trying to shut her down. The film follows the transformation of an ordinary citizen into the face of a national issue, and it really is the story about how courageous one person can be when they fight against what's wrong and they fight for what's right. To align with the conference theme of the future of work, we thought it would be great to, in order to move forward, we start by looking at the past, because as HR professionals, we really are standing on the shoulders of giants, and one of those giants was Lilly Ledbetter. So, Vicky, on a personal level, what are your reflections about your mom's story?
Well, first, let me just say good morning and thank you for having me here. It's just a pleasure to be with you here this morning. I hope you got a chance to see the film. This is a very unique opportunity that you were afforded here to see it, just a very exclusive showing this week. But if not, it will be coming, so find it and go see it. Rachel Feldman, the director and writer, did just a phenomenal job with the story. And Patricia Clarkson, who plays Lilly, is just really, really good. One of the things I really appreciated about it is that they show all of the phases of Lilly. It's the whole person. It's not just her fight, not just her mistreatment, but it really does show that she was just a regular, ordinary person. You know, Lilly was, she was my mom, right? That's always what she was, is she was my mom. So to go through this experience with her, I really learned a lot more about her. And the experience lasted for probably 28 years. It's unbelievable to think about that, but it was really a long journey. And there were many setbacks. And courage, she was so courageous that is really the one takeaway for me. You know, she had so many opportunities to stop. She was mistreated at work. You know, she could have resigned, found another job, but she didn't. I probably would have, but she did not. And she was about 2 years away from retirement when the anonymous note was placed in her locker, informing her that she was being paid significantly less than her male counterparts. So she was a first-level line supervisor on a factory floor. And she was devastated because she'd been there for so long. And how she got the courage to go through that day and to finish until her retirement, I don't know that either. She retired, another great time to stop, but she did not. She filed a lawsuit. One of the largest setbacks she ever had was the Supreme Court. It was devastating again, but she always kept going. She was courageous. She was persistent, and she continued, and that is what I really take from her as my mother. Watching her go through that experience, that was quite something to see.
Thank you, Vicky. Rachel Feldman is a film and television director. She's been directing dramatic television for decades, shows like Blue Bloods, Criminal Minds, and The Rookie. Lilly is her first feature film. So Rachel, what attracted you to Lilly's story, and why did you want to make a movie about her?
Thanks, Jenny, and thank you all for having me here. It's a pleasure to be with you. So I'm a writer and a director and now a producer. And I feel as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, it's my job to know a good story when I sense one, hear one, see one. And when I first saw Lilly Ledbetter speak on television at the DNC in 2008, I was struck by this Alabama grandmother talking about fair pay in front of millions of people. And I said to my husband, this is a movie. There's a story here, like Erin Brockovich or Norma Ray or Silkwood. I've got to reach out to this woman. And something physiological happened to me, and I just knew that I needed to grab that story. So I reached out to Lilly soon after. I have always loved movies that have a social justice theme. It's just part of who I am. And so, my own exclusion, employment exclusion, discrimination in Hollywood certainly made me hypersensitive to these issues. But I knew that making a film about Lilly Ledbetter could be the kind of movie that affects hearts and minds, and that I know as a filmmaker, you can affect change in society through cinema. And that was what I wanted to do, and I hope we have done with Lilly's story.
Great. Lilly passed away this last October. She was 86. Did she get a chance to see the film before what were her thoughts about it?
She did. So I took an early cut of the movie down to Birmingham and shared it with Hickey and the family. Yeah. And she liked it very much. She had one note. I don't know if you know this about Lilly, but she was a ballroom dancer. And she danced with President Obama at the inauguration ball, by the way. But she said, I want more dancing in the movie. And we had shot dancing, but the early cut had less of it in it. So I went back to the editing room. We put more dancing in it. We made some other changes. And then she saw it again in its final form. And she was very, very moved by knowing that her legacy and that her story would continue. Lilly herself was a movie lover. She loved movies. And she told me that even as a child, when she was in poverty, they had very little money. She and her dad would collect their pennies and go to see a double feature of Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire on the weekends. And she really wanted this movie to get made. And any independent film, if any of you know out there, is a rocky road. It's like being an entrepreneur with a startup, and there are ups and there are downs. And every time I would call her or email with her, her comment was always, I have faith. I have faith. And working with her was such a joy and such a pleasure. And I learned so much about determination and tenacity from this remarkable woman. So it's sad that we're here at this moment and she's not able to share the next couple of months, which are going to be very exciting with us. But I'm so delighted that Hickey and her family will.
Great, thank you. Yes. Hickey, you're a successful HR executive yourself, so you know the challenges around pay transparency and pay equity. So what are your thoughts about your mom's legacy in that regard?
Well, my mom was interviewed so many times, and she, a lot of people would ask her, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to be? What do you want to be remembered for? And she always said she wanted to be remembered that she made a difference. And I believe that she has, and I believe that she will continue to do so. The film will be probably a part of that and keeping the story. But she was so impactful, and she got up every day. Even at 86, she got up every day and wanted to tell her story and make sure everybody was aware. Her impact was, she wanted to make everybody aware of equal pay and pay equity. She wanted that, especially for that message for women, especially young women, because she knew it impacts herself, it impacts you, it impacts your family, and it impacts your retirement income. That continues your entire life. And so she wanted to make everyone aware so they would ask questions. They would be aware that they needed to ask questions. They needed to learn more about their pay and pay equity. And I think that'll be her lasting impact, is that story and that message.
That's so beautiful. Rachel, what do you hope audiences take away from seeing the film?
Lilly was an ordinary person who did an extraordinary thing. She spoke up when she saw an injustice, and although in the end she didn't have any financial remuneration personally, She fought for the rest of us. She fought for American workers. And the film for me is about courage. Of course, it's about these very specific issues, but it's really about courage. And I hope that anyone who's experiencing any kind of otherism, any kind of discrimination, any kind of injustice in their life, no matter where in the world, if they might see this movie, it might be a beacon of hope for them to know that one small voice, one individual can potentially make social change. And I wanted to make a film about a wife and a mother. I wanted to show the personal cost of activism, what it feels to bring all of that home. I wanted to show the male allies in her life, her husband, her lawyer, all the other great men along the way who supported her and lifted her and enabled her to do what she did. My goal as a filmmaker always is to affect people emotionally, and I wanted to try to create a roller coaster ride of suspense and heartbreak and euphoria, so that when you're walking out of the movie theater and your heart is full and your eyes are welling with tears, you're thinking also about the issues that faced this ordinary human being, because I believe that the best entertainment also enlightens.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great moment to show the movie clip. Starring Patricia
You took
Clarkson.
a man's job. I had my tires slashed, my windshield busted, tobacco juice poured all over my car. It was a free-for-all, and everybody is related to some uncle or cousin. If you complain, they just say, we don't mess with kin. Shouldn't a company be responsible for how their people act?
Yes, a company should. So obviously, I believe very strongly in this film and this message as an investor and an executive producer. If folks want to help share the Lilly Ledbetter story or the movie, how can they help, Rachel?
Oh, thank you. So we are opening in limited theatrical release in movie theaters around the country on May 9th. Just ahead of Mother's Day. So I hope all of you will grab your kids and your mothers and your grandmothers and go as a family event. But we are also hoping that we can open wider in more cities across the country. And so, as many independent films are doing right now, because distribution has changed drastically for feature films, we're looking for companies like yours to help us by creating an initiative called Adopt a City. So if your company happens to be in a particular market or city where you think Lilly would play very well, you can sponsor that theatrical release. And I hope you'll come and reach out to me so that we could talk about that, and that all the local advertising and marketing would have the company name on it if you so wished. So, and then once we open in additional theaters, smaller companies or your Girl Scout troop or your book club can buy out very specific screenings Thursday at 3 o'clock, and that can be your individual event. So again, I hope you'll reach out to me and we can discuss it. I hope that Lilly can be seen across the country and across the world.
Wonderful.
So thank you very much for letting us be here today.
Absolutely. So there's 3 takeaways that I'd like to wrap up our message with. Lilly started working at Goodyear at age 40. She retired at age 60, and then she had 10 years of a legal fight. So it's a fantastic reminder that fighting for what's right and making change is not just a young person's sport. It, you know, as a person in their 50s, it gives me tremendous energy and courage and inspiration that it's not too late to make huge change. In terms of equal pay, women are still earn 82 cents for every man's dollar. So it's a reminder that even though her story was not that long ago, this is still a very timely issue for all of us to be dealing with. And it's also kind of a crazy time in HR. Anybody else feeling that? It feels like there's a lot of pressure in the world and there's a lot of crazy out there. So it's a tough time to be in HR, but it's also a great time in HR because our companies need us. And it's not just the company, it's the community that company is in, and the country and the society. And so we have the opportunity as HR professionals to make a huge change and to make a huge difference. We bring the humanity, we bring the human into these conversations about business and commerce. And we sometimes are that one person fighting for what's right. And I hope that we all take inspiration from that. I wanted to be part of the producing team of this film because I was so inspired by Lilly's story, and I hope that when you see the movie, you're inspired too. Thank you.
Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you very much.